Okay, so before we build anything more with our board, what I want to do is introduce a concept we're actually going to use quite a bit, which is random. We need a way to make a random number so that we can use it to, make our robots do get out of a jam. If it gets into a wall or a corner, if you just make it go back and forth, it's going to get stuck. But if you every once in a while roll the dice, well, it's going to be able to get out of there. It's going to be able to use that random number to seed an idea, and then it'll act, change its behavior and hopefully get out of any situation that it's in. But we're going to use it for a cool lighting effect initially. All right? And to do it, we'll start off real simple. I'm going to make a new sketch. And as usual, I'm going to do a little copying and pasting. Once again, I can't. There we go. Move it over here. All right. So let's take the all this. I'm going to paste it at the top of my code, and then I'm going to take my separator. And I'm going to paste it in here. All right. That's actually, and then I'll get this setup information. I think we are going to go ahead and use that. I know we're going to use the serial port at least to start with. All right, cool. I'll just minimize this one, put this one over here, and stretch it out. And I'll call this intro to random. All right, super. Well, believe it or not, to do a random number in its simplest form is actually super easy. Let me copy this, and I'll make a demo here. And I'll call it demo 1. And right there. Delete that junk. And we'll put it in our loop. Okay, cool. So now we've got our function called demo1 that we're going to build our very first sort of random thing in it. So I'm going to generate a random number, a random integer. So I'm going to create a variable, int, and I'll call it ran. And I'm going to set it equal to random, and you'll notice it turns red. And then I'm going to open up parentheses. Now, if I want a number between 1 and 100, I could just type in 100, which, oddly enough, will get you to 99. But if I want to bracket it, which is what I want to do this time, I'm going to put in between, say, 10, comma, and if I do want to go to 100, I actually have to go to 101. Ugh, I hate that. And then I'll throw a delay. Make it half a second. All right. So right now, if I load this, which should happen. Oh, I didn't do my printing. Good heavens, you're not going to see anything. And then let's serial print it. All right. And there you go. Seemingly random numbers. Okay? And it looks like it's doing pretty good. Let's reload it. Let's watch carefully. 73, 77, 99. Let's reload it. $73, $77, $99. Uh-oh. I'll bet it's going to be $73, $77, $99. Huh. Okay. Well, it's not really random. So we have to randomize it in some way. Now, it used to be super easy. You used to be able to just seed the number generator with, well, random data. And random data is not hard to get in the older processor. It wasn't near as nice as this one. You just asked one of the pins what it saw when there was nothing connected to it, and it would be static. So it would be a bunch of different things. Well, this new processor is so stable, it doesn't do that anymore. It's pretty fixed. We can't seem to use an analog read of a value. So what we have to do is we have to come up with a different way to get this seeded in such a way that it's actually going to be a random number. And I played with it a few different ways. There's actually a library we could use, but it's kind of complicated. I tried setting the resolution to 12 bits. To see if I can get the uncertain numbers at the end, which does work, but it's a lot of setup and yada yada. And I thought, let's just do something simple. So we have to have a random seed in here. I'll type that out. Okay, and we need a value inside that parentheses. So I try to think about what seems to vary when you start this thing up. And I decided that actually opening up this serial port seems to vary. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a loop. Some of you already have this. While not serial. So in other words, it's going to stay in this loop until this port is open. So if you close it, it takes, that's a human interaction, right? There's no way you're going to be able to open it within the exact same period of time. But even if we leave it open, my computer seems to have, with all its functions going on and all that data flowing and everything, it seems to vary by milliseconds. So I'm going to create a variable, and it's an integer variable, and I'm going to call it, I'll call it, value. And I'm going to make it equal to millis. And what millis is the amount of time it takes from the start of the processor to that exact moment. Okay? So as soon as I upload, the processor starts. And then as soon as it starts, well, it tries to open the serial port. Well, so that seems to vary by milliseconds. And then what happens is it changes the seed. So if we put this in here, like that, so now we're going to base it on how long it takes for the processor to start. And we load it up. And I open this up. Started off with a 10. Actually, I'll close it this time, and we'll do it again. Because I can guarantee you there's no way I'm going to open it at the exact same time. Okay, that time it's a 73. This time I'm going to leave it open. All right? I'm not even going to close it, and I'm going to reload it. And at least with my computer, the amount of time it takes to actually establish connection varies by at least a few milliseconds. So if I do it again, 52, do it again, 87, do it again, 38. Okay. So I feel pretty good about this, at least on my computer, and I'm eager for some of you guys to tell me how it works with your computers. But by creating this loop right here, and then counting the number of milliseconds it takes for that to actually open, and using that as a seed, we seem to be able to get random numbers that work real well. So let me show you this again. If I were to make this just 10, all right, and I load it up, we'll see these numbers come up. And we've got 6, 3, 1, 1, 1, 1, 3. We'll watch it a second. We should never get to 10. We do have 0, okay? So it starts at 0, but we never actually get to 10. If I want it to get to 10, I have to put in an 11. And if I put in an 11, I will actually get a 10, okay? And then let's go down here. Let's say I want between 10 and 20. So though 10, comma, 20, well, you would think that I'd get a 20, but perhaps you're now figuring out that, well, that's not going to happen. I'm going to get a 10, there's 1, but I'm never going to get a 20. And we could sit here and wait, but I can tell you it's never going to generate a 20. So if I want a 20, I actually need to do 21. And now we'll end up with a 20. And of course it's random, so we might have to wait a minute. There it is, there's a 20. Okay? So I'm actually going to keep this video right here, and I'll be posting this code, so it'll be for your reference. But that gives you an idea how to actually work with random, all right? And then random seed is how we make that number truly random. And this is the only trick that I could come up with that was reasonably easy to do. Simply create a loop that waits for this port to open, and then use the time it takes for that port to open to seed our random number. And that generates truly random numbers. So hopefully this was useful, and I will see you again soon.